to get in the flesh on Carbide. We're going to go all the way.
看这，这次还能不会吗？好像被 KO 了。
Oh my God! That's going to hurt. Grab the milk, Kenny.
Welcome to the Combot Collective.
Hello everyone and welcome to another Battlebots news episode here at the Combot Collective, bringing you everything you want to know from the world of robot combat, from Battlebots to the live circuit, from heavyweight class to the flyweight class. And our last Battlebots news episode, of course, we were talking to you about the departure of Deep 6 from the world of Battlebots. Not allowed to compete anymore. It's pretty unfortunate, but we have some pretty good news today. It's another sign that the world's opening a little bit more and more each day with the passing of COVID, at least in some circumstances. Not as serious anymore, of course, still around. But I digress. You know, we've seen a lot of builders step away from the world of robot combat this year. So it's good to talk about one team coming back for a change, as while their robot Cobalt has been fighting in their place. According to Robotic Death Company, the duo of Team Carbide may very well be back, according to this August 16th post on the team's Facebook page. It is official. Dave Molds in the center and Sam Smith on the right will be joining the Robotic Death Company for Season 7 of Battlebots. We have been working with them on some key designs and add-ons for the upcoming seasons, and it is truly an honor to have such great builders participate with the Robotic Death Company to help us learn and get better. Now, this confirms multiple things. The first, of course, being, as stated, Sam Smith and Captain Dave Molds are back from their absence due to both team members having children during the pandemic year of 2020. In that parental absence, the duo would leave their robot to Robotic Death Company for the 2021 season as the year's sole British representative. The Deadly Spinner would solidify Team Carbide's place as the British version of hardcore robotics, essentially, when Cobalt would eviscerate its way to the Elite 8, destroying robots like Gruff and Ghost Raptor while supplying some serious upsets against robots like Yeti and Whiplash. This impressive performance granted Cobalt an all-star berth for Remar's All-Stars in June, where Cobalt faced Scorpius in the first round. So it was a banner year for Cobalt, who definitely seemed to have the woes of 2016 and 2019 solved, as now the Deadly Spinner will only get better with the return of their father builders Dave and Sam. Also, with the team seemingly merging into one super unit, at least for this year, it will be very intriguing to see which members of the Robotic Death Company EMBA being primarily members of the Cobalt sector of the group. Of course, you can expect Sam Smith and Dave Molds up front and center for Cobalt, and I can also anticipate Brent Riker returning as probably the main US crew member, maybe even acting as a crew chief, like Rick Ruz was for Team Tombstone. But in terms of the legendary driver and former Battlebots captain Matt Maxim, I expect him to return to weapon control duties for the Gigabyte portion of Robotic Death Company entering the 2022-2023 championship year. Now, for those new to Battlebots come 2020 onwards or don't follow international competitions to know how big of a deal this is, Team Carbide is arguably the most successful, most destructive, and the most memorable team to come out of all of Europe within the last 10 years. But their dominance is not specifically only within this last decade. No, Team Carbide's main duo have in fact been around for 2 decades, going all the way back to the year 2000 at Robot Wars Series 4, where Sam Smith would debut Tiberius, a sleek, crushing robot which would become a staple in Robot Wars from that season onwards with 5 appearances in Robot Wars series. Tiberius will remain a mainstay in the UK live scene until it was eventually sold to the legendary Team Storm, who would turn the robot into the Battlebots competitor Photon Storm, who a lot of people remember Minotaur's debut in Battlebots 2016. And a few years after Tiberius' debut, in 2006, the 30-pound veteran Dave Molds would begin his own endeavor into the world of heavyweight action when he entered the storied 2006 FRA UK Championships with his Flipper Turbulence, and would go on to win that year's UK title on his very first try with many out of the arenas during the event. Eventually, Turbulence would change hands as Dave Molds would switch his focus back over to the 30-pound class, building notorious spinners such as 360, 720, and 540, while Sam Smith would go on to focus on smaller robots a few years later with his own powerhouse spinners like NST and Shard, the latter of those 2 robots being the inspiration to Cobalt's design. When Robot Wars rebooted in 2016, Team Carbide would officially be born, as the team immediately would make an impact in the world of heavyweight robot combat, as their horizontal spinner Carbide would be known as the sport's British tombstone, and being a powerful spinner in a region where spinners were banned for such a long period of time really paid off for Team Carbide, as Carbide would dominate its way through every Robot Wars season in the reboot era, reaching the grand finals finale all 3 times and even winning the Robot Wars UK title during Series 9. Team Carbide has of course also competed all around the world. In 2016, the very first version of Cobalt, a repainted version of Carbide, debuted at Battlebots, going 1-1 in their debut run, disappointing the team and leading them to make a brand new design for international competition, debuting a deadly vertical spinner named Tungsten in China's This Is Fighting Robots event in 2018. Tungsten would dominate the Chinese event, going 6-1 with victories over robots like Shredderator, Orby Blade, and Greedy Snake en route to winning the team championship. This would mark the birth of Cobalt as we know it today, as Tungsten would then be rebranded into Cobalt at the start of 2019 with Carbide's original colors we know and love today, looking dominant yet again in Battlebots 2019, but it would struggle against a new level of competition, going 2-3, but it would truly solidify itself as the British spinner in this event with matchups against Bombshell and Duck. Well, that brings us back to today, as between China and the USA, Cobalt sits at a 14-8 career record with 1 major championship, 2 Elite 8 appearances, and 1 All-Star berth. As a team though, Team Carbide currently sits with 3 major heavyweight championships between Turbulence, Carbide, and Cobalt / Tungsten. And perhaps most importantly of all of these notes is the team finds themselves 1 major championship away from getting the illustrious heavyweight Triple Crown. Now, the Triple Crown is somewhat of a new concept in the sport of robot combat. With Asia growing as such a major force in the scene, this fictional honor entails that a team has won major championships in the heavyweight class in all 3 of the major continents / regions of robot combat, with 3 teams currently only 1 major championship away from achieving this honor. Now, the 2 other of these teams will be Todd Medlinhall's Team Panzer, who of course has Triple Crown this recent championship, but only needs 1 championship in China to finish his own Triple Crown, ironically enough. And New Zealand's Oh Yes Robotics with Endgame, formerly known as Death Toll, who has won the 2018 FMB World Championship in China and Battlebots 2020 in the USA. Oh Yes Robotics and Endgame only need a European title to finish their Triple Crown. Now, with Robot Wars Series 9, the 2006 FRA UK Championships both representing Europe, and China's This Is Fighting Robots representing Asia, Team Cobalt has yet another opportunity now to win the Triple Crown with a Battlebots 2023 Championship, or maybe even a RoboGames 2023 Championship if the robot can get off the reserve list and the team can get over there for that event. But that there is all we know about Team Carbide returning back to the US for future competitions, joining Robot Dig Death Company as a sort of a unification of forces here. I'm excited to see how that plays out, and maybe we'll actually get a Cobalt versus Gigabyte matchup if they become more separated as teams in Battlebots' eyes. As we always say though, the Combot Collective, only time will tell though, as that's all the news we have today, and a little bit of a history lesson there. I had some fun typing all that out, as I'm a big Team Carbide fan myself. I love Carbide, I love Cobalt, I love Tungsten, but I digress. That's going to do it for us here. I am your host, as always, Sterling Brown. You can find me on Instagram at SterlingTXTG. And for the Combot Collective, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook in the description below. You can find us on Discord. You can join our channel. All of our video news goes there first. And for our YouTube video, of course, right here, please give us a like, please give us a comment, give us all the feedback you can, and please subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon. We love all your support here at the Combot Collective. But that's going to wrap it up for another news video here at TCC. I am your host, Sterling Brown, as always, and we will see you next time for more Battlebots news and more Battlebots Champions videos.
This was the Combot Collective. Find us on Instagram and Discord.